Okay, thank you for checking out A1 Math. And today, what I want to do is talk about finding a break-even point or finding the solution to a system of equations here. Okay, a system of equations. So here I have two systems of equations here, and they're already set up in the y equals mx plus b format. And what I want to do is to figure out exactly where they cross, or where do they have the exact same value uh, as far as the functions. So let's take a look at the first example here. All right, so what I want to do is graph. So if I have y is equal to mx plus b in each one is the y-intercept. So that's the first thing I want to do as far as graphing is finding that y-intercept. So I will go to uh, 0, 4, because that's where it crosses the y-axis at. All right, now once I get there, what I want to do next is use my slope and use rise over run. So what I would do is go ahead and take the negative 3 over 2 is my slope and do rise over run. Now because it's negative, I'm going to go ahead and apply that negative here to the 3. You could apply it to either one, but I'm going to apply it to the 3. And since it's negative, instead of going up, I'm going to go down 3 spaces. Okay, so after I do that, I'm going to run 2 spaces to the right. Now that I'm over 2 spaces to the right, I have my other point here, and I could just draw my line here, and that'll be my function. So I have the first one here graphed, like so. All right, now that I have this graph, I'm gonna go ahead and graph the second one and see where they cross at, because that's gonna be my solution. Okay, again, I'm gonna go to -1 for my y-intercept because it's crossing the y-axis at -1. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and count down 3 places and over 2. They seem to have the same slope. So I'm gonna go down 3 spaces and over 2 because it's a -3 over 2. Now, if I want another point here and I want something up here a little closer up this way so it's easier to draw, I'm gonna go ahead and make that point as well. Now, remember where I said you could put the negative on either one of the numbers here? This time I'm put it on the 2. So instead of running to the right, positive, I'm gonna go to the left, negative. So if I go over 2 spaces here, now that I use the negative on the 2, the positive, the 3 is gonna be positive, so I will go up 3 spaces. And that would look like this. So I will go over 2 and then up 3, and that'll get me my other point here. And now I have 3 points, so it makes it pretty easy to draw. And then I draw my line like so. All right, now, so I've got my function for my first equation here and the second one here, and both of them a graph. And you can see the dot going to intersect, the dot going across. Uh, when two functions have the same slope, they're parallel. Uh, if the y-intercept is different. So these will not cross, they will not intersect. So the answer is no solution. Now, so that's the answer for number one here. Now keep in mind this is kind of like a special case where there's no solution. Another special case is where you have the actual uh, graph, and if it overlaps on top of your if both lines overlap each other, there's an infinite amount of solutions because it's going to include every single number. So if they're basically the same function, then you have an infinite amount of solutions. So those are the two special cases. But most of the times they're going to cross each other and you're going to have a solution. Let's take a look at number two where that happens. Okay. Now on number two, um, we've got two graphs here, two functions. Actually, we only have one function, and x is equal to 2 is not a function. Okay. It doesn't have a y-intercept. Um, it doesn't pass the vertical line test. Uh, it's not a function, but we can still graph it and see what the solution is. So if you have a x equal 2 or y equals 5 or something like that where there's no x involved, then what you want to do to graph it is go straight over here to your origin at 0, 0. And if it's x, you'll go left or right. And if it's y, you'll go up and down, just like we always do. So we're going to take the x and we're going to go to the right two spaces because it's a positive 2. All right, so that's a point. We're going to make a point there. And we want to draw a line so that it stays on 2. So that line is going to go straight up and down on that x equal 2. So that's our line. So every point on this line, x is equal to 2. So that's our first line. Now we're going to graph the second one here and see if it intersects here. So we're going to start with the y equals mx plus b and our y-intercept, which is 3. All right, next we'll go ahead and use our slope and do our rise over run. So in this case, we're going to rise up one space and then run over two spaces. Now we have our 2 points here and we can draw a line like so. All right, now the last part is to figure out what the solution is. Where does it cross? Well, it crosses right here. And that's going to be over 2 and up 4. So our point is, our solution here is going to be 2 comma 4. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Um, all you want to do is graph each function. Um, make sure you use the y-intercept, the slope. Keep in mind if you have a negative, you could put it on either part, the 1 or the 2, or whatever, either the numerator or the denominator. If you have a positive slope, like so, you could apply a negative to the numerator and the denominator. So keep that in mind too. That way you would count down to or down 1 and count back 2 to find that another point. Okay. Um, and remember our special cases where if they don't cross, there's no solution. If they overlap each other, then it's an infinite amount of solutions. Okay. And again, I want to thank you for checking out A1 Math and have a nice day.